Most insurance agencies are using AI to rewrite their emails. The top 1% are running their entire agency using an operating system connected to their CRM, their calendar, their ads, their email, all of it. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use Claude AI to set this up, including all of the connectors, the use cases, and the ones that are actually going to move revenue for an insurance agency. Stay until the end because I have a lot of value to provide for you, especially this one single step that probably does more than the others combined. And so with this in mind, we can now dive into the 6 main categories of use cases that are involved. This will include something like admin and scheduling, content and marketing, ads performance, lead generation in your CRM, research and analysis, as well as knowledge base and operations. And just to give you an idea of how this all looks in practice, this is a screenshot of the Claude chat. And if you notice, it works pretty much the same way as ChatGPT does. Now, there are minor differences in the way it looks like. Claude is really just a ChatGPT that's on steroids and 10 times better in completing your tasks. And I don't have to do much convincing here on how it's useful for insurance, because if we take a look at this, Allianz, one of the largest insurance companies in the world, partnered with Anthropic to integrate AI. And the reason that this is so important is because Allianz has 156,000 or so employees. And you can just imagine how powerful it is when all of those employees can get their hands on AI. This was several months ago. I have no doubt that some other deals with other insurance companies are in the making. So that's how the landscape is looking like. But in order to actually act on the landscape, we need to know what to do. So diving into the first use case here, admin and scheduling. Now Claude can do many things with your calendar as well as your email. These are just going to be some examples. So in Gmail or Outlook, it can read messages, it can draft messages, and it can send emails. And so the reading of emails is really important as well, because if you can have Claude every day at 7 a.m. or so, go into your inbox, look through all of the emails that are in there, scan for the good ones and toss the bad ones in spam. That's going to make your organization much better, because I'm sure we all hate when there's a bunch of emails in the inbox. Only some of them are useful, and we just have to get through it because there's no time for the organization. So you can have Claude not only clean your inbox, but it can also draft emails and it can also send emails. An email at this point is just one chat with Claude away. Same thing with Google Calendar or whatever other calendar you use. You can schedule, you can reschedule, and you can summarize your entire day of meetings, your entire week of meetings. Super flexible. And so what else Claude can do is it can draft policy renewal notices for all clients. So you can actually have an automation running when a client enters the system. You can automatically set out a time slot in your calendar for a week or so before the renewal date. So when that renewal date does come across, you can see that in your calendar and give the lead a call to get them renewed. And as I said here, what it can also do is scan the inbox, flag those urgent emails, and draft some replies, block calendar time for follow-ups automatically, read meeting invites, and add preparation notes to the calendar, and on a weekly basis, summarize everything that was unanswered, or maybe the opposite, and summarize all of the meetings that you've been to. So that's admin and scheduling in a nutshell. Now moving on to content and marketing. This is a pretty big one. It doesn't necessarily have to be for content or for marketing. But here's what I can tell you for sure. For those of you who have heard of Canva, you'll know that this is something that can generate designs, slideshows, social assets, whatever. And this usually involves you having to adjust the text, maybe drag some sort of elements, and so on. But with the Canva MCP, and MCP is just a fancy name for a simple connection that Claude can make with Canva. With this MCP connection, Claude will have access to your Canva, and it's going to be able to generate and create those designs for yourself. So maybe the next time you need some sort of design, or you want a slide deck for one of your products that you can send off to people, you can create that in a matter of a few minutes and send that off. And of course, Claude can also have access to your Google Drive, so you don't even have to download these designs and slideshows. What it can do is just do that for you, put them into Google Drive, organize everything for you. So those are the two connectors or tools that Claude can use. And if you haven't realized this by now, a connector is essentially some sort of platform or app that Claude can connect to. So whether it's your email, whether it's your Google Drive, your Canva, your calendar, whatever it may be. But otherwise, for content and marketing overall, what it can do is be generating a week of social post captions in one prompt. These are just examples. It can create Canva carousels from your simple directions, build client-facing proposal slide decks like I was saying before, repurpose YouTube transcripts into something like LinkedIn posts, or maybe you have blog posts or article posts, or whatever it really may be. And then it can also draft video scripts and editing briefs. So the diagram you're actually looking at right now was generated fully by AI. All I had to do was give it the information I wanted to plug in, so essentially my expertise, and it was able to create this very nice visual over here, which I am presenting to you right now. So I hope you can see how content and marketing can be powerful. Now, after content and marketing, we're going to have ads performance. Even though not every agent or agency is running ads, this is something that's really powerful if you're considering to start running ads, because many agents and agencies run ads once, maybe for a month or 2 months, and when they see no success, they blame it on the ads, but 99.99% of the time, the issue is in your execution and how you actually did something rather than the ads themselves. This is the reason you can use one of these 4 tools to help you with your ads. Now, Rise AI, Windsor, all 4 of these tools that you see are things that are going to connect your meta ads or your Facebook ads to your cloud workspace. And because you can see here that some of these support over 560 meta ads metrics, you can have Claude become your own marketing and ads advisor, analyzing your spend, helping you optimize things, and generating reports for you. And this can be taken so many different ways. So Claude can pull your weekly metrics, so something like the return on ad spend by campaign. It can do this for every single week. The ones who improve in ads the fastest are usually the ones who can see the patterns and iterate correctly, so you can ask whatever you need to do. Something like, graph all of my weekly results over the past 2 months. You'll be able to see how you're growing. Ask it to suggest budget reallocations, generate full performance reports in 30 seconds. You get the gist of this. You can take this as far as you would really like. Just connect your meta ads or your Google ads with one of these 4 tools and watch as you're able to do all of this. So I hope by now this actually seems realistic and legitimate that you can use AI inside of your insurance agency, because I see a lot of non-specific information popping up all over the place. But if you also want some outside and experienced help in integrating AI straight into your agency, feel free to book a one-on-one 30-minute consultation with me and my team using the first calendar link in the description. I can confidently say that we've worked with many insurance agencies, and honestly, at this point, there's no reason to not be using AI inside of your agency. But anyway, let's get back into the video and continue with lead generation and CRM. Now, regardless of what CRM you use for your agency, whether it be HubSpot, whether it be Go High Level, we can continue using all of these softwares and connect them with something like Claude. The reason Claude is so powerful is because it's much faster updating the CRM than a human is, and it also doesn't get tired or annoyed of it. And I know I'm being a bit broad with all of these explanations. That's with total intention, because each agency is going to be a bit different, for example, in how it uses its CRM and adds people to the CRM. But the idea is that Claude is just able to do so much. So scan your CRM, add people to the CRM, update the contacts in the CRM, move them from one stage to another, and add tags. If you add Claude, you'll find at least one way to make your life easier. With something like Instantly, which is actually a core component of our referral partner generation system, and you can actually check out a video over here how we built a $1.1 million outreach system. But really, the way this works is that we find potential referral partners and their contact information online. We qualify them, we personalize all of the messages, and I know you're probably getting tired of hearing Claude, but Claude is going to upload those leads into your Instantly, and not only is it able to execute, but once again, like in the scenario where we had ad performance tracking, this can check your campaign metrics, show you how you're hopefully improving over time, and so on. And by the way, if you want to get a referral partner generation system set up for yourself, we actually guarantee 10 booked meetings with potential referral partners in 30 days, or you don't pay. So if that sounds good to you, feel free to book that one-on-one consultation using the first link in the description. And as I said here, but now in more detail, Claude scrapes these potential referral partners, is going to qualify them, and it's going to upload leads and manage that process end to end. Then it's going to be able to pull all contacts with no follow-up in 14 plus day, log the meeting notes directly into the CRM after a call, and also log all of the people that you got from email into a separate place. That way your lead channels are organized. Then also flag the deals that are going cold. And on the CRM end of things, log meeting notes directly into it, flag deals that are going cold based on the last activity day, and on a weekly basis, give you a summary of your pipeline health. Moving on, we're going to have research and analysis. And actually, just to toss in another note here, one of the most powerful things we have done in terms of a CRM is combine some of these points into one system. So for example, one agency we worked with had a few agents, so producers, and when those were calling leads, we would actually have a transcript get saved and stored. Right after the call, Claude would be able to grab a transcript, then match the phone call to the correct lead in the CRM. Based on the call, create some notes about the caller, put that into the CRM and attach those to the lead, then also place tags on the lead and move them through the pipeline stages. Hopefully with that use case, this becomes even more crystal clear, but let's follow that up with the research and analysis use case. A lot of people are often complaining about how AI hallucinates and makes up information, but in reality, they're not even using correct methods. And the most basic way to improve all of your research in Claude is to turn on web search or deep search. So those are both going to be real-time research. Of course, deep research is just going to pull more information and more specific information, but that's how you get accurate information. Besides researching on the web, Claude actually has connectors like Google Sheets. Maybe you can tie in your CRM here as well, because after all, it is analysis. But just to give you the example with Google Sheets, Claude can read those Google Sheets, so basically pull information from them, and also write structured data within them. And now more specifically, actual practical use cases of how this can work. So what you can do is maybe research a prospect before a sales call. Obviously, if you're searching on the internet, this will apply more to commercial insurance. But if the lead has actually entered your system before a sales, you can also connect your CRM. So this is really flexible. As long as you can figure out the correct connector that you can give Claude access to, it can do a lot for you. And if you still have doubts about whether it can actually do a lot, just remember that one of the world's largest insurance companies partnered with Anthropic and gave 156,000 of its employees access to Claude. And by this point, a lot of carriers and companies that as an agent or agency you can get quotes from also have things like APIs. So you can actually get Claude to not only pull maybe competitor carrier pricing, but also pull it from the carriers that you work with. For example, if you hate Allstate or State Farm for, I don't know, whatever reason you hate them for, you can get quoting details from another carrier. Some more examples of this, and as I said, this applies more to our referral partner system, where we get you 10 referral partner opportunities within 30 days or you don't pay. So just book a chat if that interests you. You can just be analyzing a lot of information you have, whether it's in Excel or Google Sheets. This can just analyze all of your information, make it stupidly easy to organize things, read PDF policy documents, extract key terms, and maybe help you with market research if you're dabbling in a new line of insurance or a new product. And finally, with this in mind, we can move on to the knowledge base and operation section of this. And this is probably one of the most powerful and time-saving ones. And I'm not joking, but this is basically the place where you grab every single piece of information that you have for your agency, your product, your market. You grab all of those files, you grab any information you can get your hands on, you literally give it straight to Claude. Something called Claude Projects, which basically allows you to make a custom version of your own Claude by giving it a huge knowledge base. And as I said, just give it product files, information about your avatar, and any other information you think is useful, and just give it a knowledge base. Because Claude is actually known to be able to produce pretty amazing PDFs and presentations, you can have it be uploading files into your Google Drive. If your agency has certain SOPs that you follow, you can create an SOP library in Google Drive, and the operations section of this will also tie back in with the CRM. But just to give you some final examples of what these use cases can look like, Claude can store and retrieve client contacts before every call. So kind of what I was talking about with that transcript and CRM automation, auto update of your task management, just helping you and the team increase the productivity, reading carrier guideline PDFs, and answering agent questions. So this was actually the second automation that we built. So let's say an agent wants to dial someone up, but because there are different compliance guidelines and disclosures for every state, what the agent can have Claude do is actually listen in on the call transcript that was able to retrieve all of that information and actually answer agent questions during the call. Because compliance and disclosures are so important, I just wanted to draw attention to this, because if we're optimizing everything else with AI, but we forget some basic compliance information, that's not going to fly too well. And as I said before, if you're doing any sort of recruiting, maybe some sort of training of new agents, and just the overall intake and transition stage of them becoming an experienced agent, you can create and organize training documents for those new hires. And now that we have all of these 6 main categories of use cases explained, all that's really left to do is take some action. So usually you don't want to start with automating all 6 things at once. What I would do if you're planning to automate something like this yourself is pick one category, pick 3 use cases within that category, and first work on them. And once you've gotten these 3 things in one category done, only then move on to the next category. The reason I'm suggesting that is because we've actually performed AI audits of insurance agencies before. The specific type of AI audits that we do are called AI Claris overviews. If you're wondering what Claris means, it's Latin for clear. So essentially what we're doing is navigating the never-ending mess and maze of AI tools that you can use by first identifying what are the best things that we can automate in your business. And we have this sort of X and Y axis graph, and basically these things are going to be ranked on effort and impact. So obviously high effort and low impact tasks are going to be the worst things that you can possibly do, and low effort, high impact tasks are going to be the best things that you can do. Oftentimes what I see many agencies and agents messing up is that they automate the shiny and easy stuff first, and oftentimes they over automate it to make it look way too fancy, just because they get carried away with it. But I'm telling you that if you're going to do this by yourself, go ahead and categorize at least some of the opportunities you can think of and go for either the high effort and high impact ones, or better yet, for the low effort and high impact opportunities. Because at the end of the day, what we figured out is that the tools don't matter as much as the execution. You can use the best tools in the world, but if you're solving these problems, it's going to be worse than if you're using mediocre tools and automating these tasks. The way we do it is we select the best use cases to automate and we match them with the best tools. So if you're an agent or agency and you're interested in doing something like that for yourself, just book a one-on-one consultation. I'll walk you through our entire method. In worst case scenario, if things are not a fit, you walk away with even more value than you got here, because my goal is to perform at least a mini audit of every agency and agent's operations and give them some actionable advice. So I know this was a bit of a longer video, but I hope these 6 categories of use cases and all of this helped you out. If you want to access these diagrams, all of these images, and anything else, as well as the resources from all of my past videos, like this $1.1 million referral partner generation system, the second link in the description is actually going to take you to my resource hub. You'll be able to access all of those resources and all of the useful information there. Otherwise, I really appreciate you for coming on today, watching this video until the end. It's very clear that you're committed to using AI and automation, so I wish you nothing but the best. Keep crushing it, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Bye.